Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call?
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yep.
Woltman.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Stankamp.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Public forum. Has anybody got anything to say other than the Vets Plaza? That's on the agenda.
You're on the agenda.
I'm on the agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, later though. You get to go through it all. Okay, consent agenda. Any additions, corrections?
Nope.
Not need a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Woltman.
Yes.
Stankamp.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Cleveland.
Here.
Yep, we approved the consent agenda, guys. Okay.
Okay, before we start, I'd like to thank everybody for coming last Saturday, because I'm assuming you're a repeat offender coming back tonight. If did everybody sign that clipboard? Because when we get done, we're going to assign the times you'll work at the bingo for the community club.
I already signed up, John.
Okay, tonight we got in the council packet, we received a letter from the Lakeview Historic Preservation Commission. We've also received a letter from the Park Board. These are both advisory boards. And we're going to I'm assuming these two organizations would you're going to get 2 minutes if you got something different to say. And then, Gary, you have 2 minutes, and Ed, you have 2 minutes. And then the council will decide. Who's going to talk for the historic preservation? If not, we'll move on.
I'll say a few words. The historic, if you were here Saturday, I think Jan pretty much said what our feelings and recommendations are. And that is, we support the park board and where they want to put the memorial. And that the district in which has been proposed by the committee is a National Historic District. It starts from the Mineral Springs and goes all the way over to near the men's open shelter. And speaking with the state, they said that if the city council wants to go ahead and put this memorial there, they have to send all specs and whatnot to the state and on to the national and for their approval before it can be done. And once it's done, the chances are that that district will no longer be on the National Register, and we'll have to go through the process of renominating it, and because it's been changed, chances are that it won't pass nomination. And so therefore, I'm trying to find out now, and Paula did not get back to me today, and I'm concerned about once it's off the National Register, it may affect our funding with federal grants and stuff for that area. So, and the cost of restoring the stone piers, I think, was a price tag of $198,000, if I recall. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
And so, you know, we want to keep those stone piers, and the state realizes that those are very unique. And we'd like to, and we just feel that that's a historical district. It needs to remain as is as much as possible. Thank you.
Okay, the park board, would you like to say something?
One thing we would say is where we went down and put flags where we originally would like to see it. We're for the memorial 100%, but that's where we would like to see it in Cedar Park.
Thank you. Gary?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank everybody again for coming Saturday, and I want to reemphasize my presentation was on behalf of the majority of the committee. Not everybody was in favor of it. And I'm really not a bad guy, even though I felt like I was taking some spears and some harpoons at that, and that's all part of the program. But the committee, we worked and we made a recommendation, and we brainstormed it, and we felt at the time that we thought the location across over there would be a better location, in our opinion, and with the intent of providing maximum exposure. That was the key, maximum exposure, and along with that we saw a safety advantage as well. The mayor also spoke with 9 different businesses in Lakeview And those businesses were in favor of this location as well. So Saturday, we had a great town hall meeting, and I really truly mean that. I'm really glad that there was a big turnout because, as I said then, we all want the same thing. We all want a memorial. We want to recognize the veterans and the sacrifices they made and the ones that will be making additional sacrifices for time to come. But we mostly heard negative feedback. That's what we mostly heard. If any of you were in a position to look to your left or right, there was some people that weren't clapping. And those that weren't clapping were truly in favor of the location over on the lake. There was one couple that stood up and expressed their interest in wanting it across the lake. However, later they had said they wish they hadn't. That's kind of sad that they felt that way, because the environment in the meeting, it could have probably gotten a little bit of hostile if it would have been any pushback or anything. It just really wasn't worth it. But what I have in my hands here is very many emails and letters in support of the location on the lake. And all I ask is that everybody think about it, think outside of the box, and just sit back and think about it a minute. I know between the stone piers is sacred ground. I understand that. And if we knew, probably the individuals that participated in the CCCs that brought employment to the United States of America, those individuals either were, number one, they were World War I vets that needed employment, or number two, they were young men who built the stone piers and then went off and fought in World War II. The City Council, you gentlemen, you take an oath to serve the community, and you have a great deal of responsibility when you do that. But that responsibility involves listening to both sides of the story. Listening and gathering all the information you can so you can make an intelligent decision. That means taking phone calls to help you make an informed decision. It means working as a team, as a council, and debating your feelings and maybe coming to a consensus. But if you don't come to a consensus, you debate and you discuss it. As a team, you're here for the same purpose, for the community and what's the best for it. This involves your loyalty and your appreciation to the committees that volunteer, that work hard for this community. We were one committee, and I felt we were disrespected. I didn't recall anybody saying thank you for the work that the committee did and the hours that they put in after work. Instead, one of the comments that we heard, one of the rumors on the street, was this was being pushed by outsiders. The Aishais, the Krolls, and the mayor. I personally take offense to that when somebody calls me an outsider, because I'm very, very active in this community, and I've been here since 1968, that I've had an address that's Lakeview 51450 since 1968. And to call me an outsider is, I take a great deal of offense, and to call Jane Kroll or Dick an outsider. If anybody knew and they cut Jane, she probably bleeds Lakeview blood. She is an icon in Lakeview. I'm going to make this other statement. I teetered with it whether I should or not. I'm not going to do it. But, oh, I can't do it. But the other thing I want to say is, Terry, for you to say we need to take care of locals, I take a great deal of offense to that, because all these letters that I have are Lakeview, Iowa 51450.
Yeah, not
We're
the people
locals.
that called me though.
Pardon me?
Them are the people that called me, so.
Right. And I didn't realize it was going to get so much traction to call you guys. So what I would like to do tonight is I want to get your cell phones, and I'll reconnect with the network, and I'll have them call you and express, you know, their position and how they would like, where they would want it. Because everybody called you, and there was
I think I thought we was gonna vote on it tonight.
We are.
Okay.
right, but they can still call, right? It'd be your
I don't
responsibility
care.
to answer the
Yeah,
phone.
my
Okay.
phone drive's open.
But all I want to say here is, this culture has to change. This culture has to change because we got to bring the community together. And that doesn't help when you say we got to take care of the locals, because I consider myself a local. And so are all these others on here. So, I want to end it. One of these letters really summed it up, talking about the water and how a soldier ties in. And the individual goes on about what the soldier does and how they provide us the freedoms that we all enjoy. And it goes on by saying, honoring them with a memorial is a true testament to a town's support and thanks to the men and women who have served this country. Be proud of it, show it off, put it in front and center where everybody can appreciate it. By the water. Why the water, you ask? The water is not just a lake that we can recreationally enjoy. It is a symbolic. Water represents life. It represents rebirth and pure happiness. It represents life because it gives all things life. The same way a soldier does who died for us. Without water, nothing would live. The only death would fill the world. Without a soldier, only death would fill the world. Water represents happiness because it is considered pure and precious to all, just as a soldier should be, pure and precious to all. Water and soldiers have more in common than you think or believe. Don't put it in the park where they will be forgotten, and of course I don't agree with that. Place the soldier by the water. Without either of those, we wouldn't even be having this meeting. I think that really kind of summed it up for us all to think about. So my last comment was, I would like to see you guys consider tabling it. Let's see what the Historical Society comes back with.
Yeah, that's my opinion too. What if the National Registry says no go? Then what?
Okay, let me finish then, okay? If they come back, as she says, if they come back and they say it's a no-go, it's a done deal. The decision is made for us. But what if they come back and say, yes, you could do that? We think that would be a great addition, since we're talking about a memorial for the soldiers. If they say it can happen, that doesn't mean it will happen. But somebody in that meeting Saturday said, why are we in such a hurry? Why are we moving so fast? And maybe we are. I mean, we set up a goal for July 4th. We invited the governor. We're on his calendar, and we were hoping that July 4th might be doable. Now, if the Historical Society says, no, you can't do it, it's a done deal. Nobody has to vote on anything. We can't do it. And we brainstorm, and I heard 2 different locations in the park. There's a debate on that. There's two locations in the park people are talking about. So I need to find out from the Parks Commission, or you?
It's marked down.
We marked it.
We
Okay.
marked it right after Saturday's meeting.
But then somebody said, okay, just a minute. And somebody said something about between the gazebo and the water fountain because of the view that it would offer from the lake. And I think that would be a great win-win if that was the case. Yes. Well, I'm not going to take your questions. But anyway, that's my recommendation, that we table it. Let's just slow down, let the dust settle. Let's see what the Historical Society says. And maybe they'll say no and it's a done deal. But my last comment is the committee didn't feel appreciated. They were pretty beat up, but I was the one that took it up there, and I've been in worse meetings than this one. So thank you for your time, and I'm not a bad guy, so if you see me, buy me a cup of coffee.
Ed, you're up. By the way, Ed is the Vice Commander for the American Legion State of Iowa.
Well, thank you for allowing me to share thoughts on location proposed for the Veterans Memorial Plaza. I invite you all to take a walk with me. I walk from my home at 165 Crescent Park Drive to the post office. I tell people every day, but yeah, maybe not so. But take that walk with me. In my opinion, memorials are meant to be seen, meant to draw the viewer's attention to the reason for erecting the memorial, not to be tucked away in a setting where the viewer must search to find it, out in the open where it will command attention. When I walked to the post office today, I did with the intention of examining more closely the visibility of each proposed site. As I walked along 3rd Street towards town, I tried to put leaves on the trees, campers in the campgrounds, and vehicles in the boat ramp parking lot area. In doing that, the proposed site between the stone piers came into view about halfway past the campgrounds. With a few exceptions for trees, it can be seen during the entire walk up to 3rd and Lakeshore Drive. There is little visibility on the proposed Speaker Park site. There are houses on the north side of the street until you get to the corner of 3rd and Lake Street. Then there is a large evergreen tree just inside the entrance to the park. You don't have a clear view of this site until you are well past the park entrance. On my walk back, I decided to go over to 5th Street as I sometimes do. Coming back on 5th Street, the first view of Speaker Park is the shelter house. There is no unobstructed view of that proposed site until you get down by the basketball court. That view is quickly obstructed by a small garage and a house on the corner of 5th and Lake Street. Along Lake Street, the proposed site is obstructed almost all the way to 3rd Street with a couple of open spots between trees. The Stones Pier site will catch those rays of the morning sun. It will bask in those rays for the entire day. The rays of the sun will not be obstructed by trees, and when nightfall comes, the light from the memorial will shine unobstructed to the heavens. In addition to the far more visible aspect for consideration, consider this. The Stone Pier site sits in a natural amphitheater. It provides a much better possibility of viewing activities concerning the Veterans Memorial Plaza, such as the initial dedication, Memorial Day festivities, or other events centered around the War Memorial. And there are 3 copies there for you to keep. Thank you.
Okay, we need to decide if you guys want to postpone this, you want to talk about it tonight and get it done, put it to bed. We're not taking any more, Kate. We've heard everything we're going to hear.
I wasn't here Saturday, and I thought it took a little longer than 2 minutes.
Well, he's also spent, I can't tell you how many nights at the meeting. Fair question.
I personally think it's been tabled once, and I think we need to make a decision and get it over with.
I'd like to say a few words, before we go on. Gary, last meeting that we had on Monday night, I thought you had a hell of a presentation. You still did on Saturday. And I guess I apologize on my behalf anyway from not recognizing that. I was caught up in the moment. I too, Ed, spent a lot of time since last Monday when we talked about this, just sat down there for 15, 20 minutes and just visualized the whole thing. We had a lot of comments from the public. I don't know about these guys, but a few phone calls and talking to people on the street. What comes to mind was, and I wrote this down, was a comment that Ben Franklin had made a lot of years ago. We all might not get everything we want, but we all will get something that we want, and that's the Veterans Memorial. Whatever the outcome of the vote is, I don't know how the rest of the council is going to vote, but I hope everybody keeps that in mind, because that's what brought us all here. And I guess that's all I have to say. And again, thank you to the committee for working on this. I hope because of the public input or the passion from the public one way or the other doesn't stop you guys from doing what we asked you to do. Because we really appreciate what you have done so far, and you know, the truck ahead, you know, one way or the other.
Well, I tell you, the committee is, I've been here 11 years, it's the only committee I've ever seen raise $35,000 in a month and a half, so.
And that's awesome.
It's rare, yeah, and the boards are advisory only, I just take that, you know, we gotta listen to them. The important thing is, I don't vote, so, but I would offer a compromise that we put it in Speaker Park. Just like that was the original plan, but put it between the fountain and the gazebo, that would give it the exposure everybody's looking for. And we build it with, other than if we had to do the location, that, you know, the city could pay for the dirt, Lon and Bill would do it. I think that'd be a compromise we could live with. It may not be what everybody else wants, but it's got good exposure and the open spaces north of the trees. Scott has told me for 11 years we don't put stuff there.
That's the motion I was gonna make, that it was not gonna be on Lake Shore. But it was going to be, and I wasn't gonna make a motion that be in Speaker Park, because I've heard a few people say the historical building, the City Hall, they would like it up here by City Hall, and up by the Rose Garden. So I was just gonna make it so it cannot be put on the Lake Shore.
I think we need to put it to bed. Somewhere along the line,
I do
give them something. And I think that exposure between the gazebo and there.
That's a motion I'd like to make.
When we first talked about this, about the memorial in the beginning, we talked about it with that picture in mind. And personally, I thought that's what we were voting on right there. You know, and so I guess, to me, we basically voted on that, and that
Yeah, I lost you. Okay, you going back on?
was where we're going to put it, I guess.
All right, still there, Gus?
And
Gus?
And again, I don't know the procedure here,
Well, I'd like to hear
Scott,
what
but
Whitey's got to say before we get
Gus?
too far.
I'm just waiting my turn.
Okay, I'm trying one more time here.
but go ahead.
How about that, Gus? Can you hear me?
What's,
Kind of get bits and pieces, and it's kind of hard to hear you.
Okay.
what's important about this is, one thing we all do agree about is having this memorial set up. So what I want to ask the historical, the World War I, World War II, when did they put that in there? Do you guys know? I mean, who did it?
I know Dr. Speaker was around when they had proposed to put it in Speaker Park, and he thought that was a nice place for it.
Okay.
So, I don't know, anybody around here know when he was in?
How long ago was that?
It's been a long time ago.
Okay.
The park is in his memory.
Okay, all right, well.
But they're not where people can see them. There's no lights or nothing. We want to put those out there.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that they thought that it was such a nice place to put it back then. Aren't we exactly trying to expand upon that idea? I mean, that, you know, that's the location, so how we put it into that different location, that started way back when. And if we continue to move it to the Speaker Park, I think it would be in that area, and that's one of the reasons why we could have it in that area. If we don't put this to rest, or I understand what the committee's thoughts are. I understand, you know, the reason I ran for the council was because of the lake people and the Lakeview people. And I'm out there roadie, so I must be part of the lake people. And I have no agenda about promoting either side of the lake. I'm here to promote Lakeview. You can understand by my involvement and all the other stuff. I think it's so important that as a community, we're still moving forward.
Okay.
And I think that's the key that we've got to continue on. I understand if we put it to rest here, it's over and it'll get done, and it'll be, everybody will end up being happy about it. But I still think it needs to be in that general area, because that's where it started.
Yeah.
And we're just expanding from it, and that's as far as I'm concerned. So
Well,
I think it's important that we do move forward, because no matter what happens, there's gonna be a room full of people happy or unhappy.
I was just giving them that option if somebody had a better idea besides the lake shore.
We could have 101 different ideas.
Yeah,
You're not gonna make them all happy. When somebody leaves there, they're gonna be mad at somebody.
I know.
And it was in the paper, I made the comment that we're the ones that make the final decision. We are, and we listen to it. It ain't just because that we're trying to overpower somebody. We'll take everybody in everybody's ideas and do the best we can. You're gonna upset some people no matter what, and that's something that I'm willing to live. I sleep real good at night because I'm helping to move Lakeview forward.
Right.
And that's all we can do here. You guys are involved in this. You think it's important. There's a lot of people think it's important. The bottom line is everybody wants it, and I don't think table net's gonna
I don't either.
is gonna.
So
change
Terry,
it.
your motion is to put it between the gazebo and the water fountain?
Yep, that's where my motion was that it wouldn't be on the lakefront.
But that isn't gonna put it to bed. We
Okay.
just will have it,
Okay, then I'll make a motion that it goes between the water fountain and the gazebo.
okay. Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Okay, Reese,
Yes.
Steinkamp,
Yes.
Waltman,
Yes.
Cleveland.
What was the motion?
Okay, Gus, so,
Go fishing.
the motion ends up being that, that they would put the Vets Memorial on Speaker Park side. The location is around the water fountain and gazebo. Okay, we'll count you as a affirmative vote. Okay?
Gus voted yes.
Can you just say that for the group, Gus, you voted yes on that, please?
Okay, 4-0.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I wanna thank the committee for the continued work they've done. So,
Yeah.
council's behind you. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Unless you wanna stay for the sewer rate increase, you're welcome.
No, I want to get out of here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
We'll make that work between that water fountain and gazebo. Okay, so that'll be our next plan. I'll put together the pros and cons on that and present.
There you go. Well, you know,
I just lost my appetite for cinnamon rolls.
Don't forget to sign up for the bingo at the commercial or community club for bingo. We gotta sign up to work the shift. Bingo count. Nobody ever signs up. Yeah. we have to.
Water cart. Now you got somebody here.
Nobody, they'll all run.
We have to?
No, we're trying to get everybody here then. So what
So I guess go to the council or
There's
what?
33 people here tonight, Gus. Yeah, there was 80 people here on Saturday.
Memorial.
So it was very controversial topic.
And there's a lot of people.
Anybody wants to give me a hug on the way out, I'll stand here.
And I hear a lot of that too, so that's gonna be another debate.
That was my proposal.
I guess we want to get her brothers on that move.
You didn't bring it up.
They've all seen this, that's what they want.
I said when I was
Otherwise, we'd be here all night.
I know I need to be put to rest. I
Yeah,
agree.
all right, go on.
Dave, so where'd you find that?
Yeah.
Kevin Litter, he told me. He said, you know, I asked,
Yeah.
I don't know how many people last week. I said,
a
what do you
practical
think?
problem.
Take your time, drive by this place.
So no change.
And he did, and he came back with his comments.
That's for different
And,
committee.
you know,
This committee's
you
not.
heard about all the
We're gonna put
stuff
the
that he
sewer
said.
sick.
Ben Franklin said.
Don't you remember?
You don't think I would have researched that myself? Well, thanks a lot.
Well, I thought you
Benches
did.
there.
Yep, you sure could.
No, well, then, why'd you?
That sounds great.
Well, I thought maybe,
Well, no,
you
they
know,
probably didn't think
Google
that was
or
No.
Probably
famous
not.
quotes by famous people.
That was famous quote by Kevin
good.
Ritter.
I'm putting you back on
Ben
speakerphone
Franklin.
again. Most
What I like is drink beer, talk big, and be somebody. That's a famous quote.
Done with this meeting or what's going
No,
on?
not yet. We're moving on.
That area.
Well,
We're gonna keep going.
All right.
We're gonna appoint Jan Frisbee, Mary Ann Monroe to the Historic Preservation Commission. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Waltman.
Yes.
Stenkamp.
Yes.
Reese.
yes.
Cleveland.
Yes.
Okay, 15-16 budget request. Park Board, you're up first.
Take some pressure off me with some people are going.
We can call them back.
That's right. As you all know, over the last year, Lakeview Park Board has been developing a plan to prepare for the arrival of Emerald Ash Borer into our community. In late 2013, after a presentation from Emma Hannigan with the Iowa DNR Bureau of Forestry, the Park Board weighed options for preparing for Emerald Ash Borer and settled on a plan that would ultimately remove all ash trees within a 15-year time frame. That decision was presented to local citizens at a public meeting held on May 3rd, 2014, and later that month that plan was announced to the City Council. Since then, the Park Board re-examined the matter after a relatively new chemical treatment option for ash trees entered the management plans of other cities preparing for the arrival of Emerald Ash Borer. This treatment is systemic insecticide sold under the label of Tree Age. Like most systemic insecticides, Tree Age must be injected into the trunk by a certified arborist. However, it needs to be applied only once every 2 years. This is a significant advantage over other chemical treatments which require application every year. The primary disadvantage of using Tree Age are the cost and the limitations of the product. On a positive note, the costs of Tree Age appear to be trending down as the product becomes more widely used. As for efficacy of the product, it appears to have a higher success rate than other systemic insecticides. Like all chemical treatments, it must be used as a preventative measure on healthy ash trees. On December 1st, 2014, the Lakeview Park Board amended its Emerald Ash Borer preparation plan to include chemical treatments for ash trees. A copy of this plan should be available to you now, and I will address its main points. First of all, the plan is built around 5 points, which are listed on page 2. As you can see, ash tree removal remains a part of the preparation plan. Our goals for removing ash trees is to reduce the ash tree population to a manageable, healthy stand that can be treated and continue to provide benefits for the town. The Park Board suggests a removal schedule of 12 trees per year that will reduce the ash tree population to 100 individuals in 15 years. For those ash trees that are to remain part of the urban forest, the Park Board recommends chemical treatment of them with Tree Age systemic insecticide. This will need to begin once Emerald Ash Borer is within a 15-mile radius of Lakeview. That is several roughly encompassing the towns of Auburn, Breda, Arthur, and Early. I will mention that even with chemical treatments, removal of a large portion of the ash tree population is unavoidable. Many ash trees are not good candidates for treatment due to decline, injury, health, or other health issues. For example, the DNR report identified 29 ash trees which should be removed immediately since these were displaying the symptoms associated with Emerald Ash Borer. The Park Board acknowledges that the removal of ash trees, especially large ones, is an expensive undertaking. The projected cost associated with removing 12 ash trees per year can be found on Table 4, on page 4, in the Emerald Ash Borer preparation plan. The far right column of that table displays the total annual cost of tree removal and replacement. For example, the projected cost of tree removal and replacement in 2015 would be $6,140. The cost of chemically treating ash trees is unfortunately also an expensive undertaking. The estimated cost of treating individual ash trees and an individual ash tree can be found in Table 8 on page 9 of the packet. Costs will vary widely among the size of the individual trees, of course. Based on the typical size of the city's ash trees, the Park Board has estimated that the current treatment cost with Tree Age would be about $95.80 per tree on average. When looking at the chemical treatment costs, it's important to remember 2 points. The cost of treatment will cover the ash tree for 2 years, and that treatment does not actually have to begin until the beetle is confirmed within the 15 miles of the Lakeview area. Once Emerald Ash Borer arrives and the chemical treatments are needed, the projected cost for applying Tree Age into 100 ash trees will run about $10,000. An example of the cost for treating 100 ash trees can be found on Table 9 on page 9. To prepare for and spread out the future costs associated with treating ash trees, the Park Board recommends the establishment of a reserve fund. In the examples given on page 12 and 13 of that plan, we set aside the amounts each year at $2,000. If, for example, Emerald Ash Borer does not turn up in Lakeview until 2019, 4 years from now, as shown on table 11 on that same page, on page 12, the funds put aside in previous years will provide considerable help in covering the initial cost of treatment. Table 12 on page 12 also shows how the reserve fund will be used once chemical treatments are in progress. Since treatment of ash trees will be needed only once every other year, the objective of the reserve fund will be to distribute the costs associated with ash tree treatment over a 2-year time frame. Finally, the far right column on table 13 on page 13 displays the total annual expenditures associated with the combined ash tree removal and chemical treatment plan over a 15-year period. The inclusion of treatment option to our Emerald Ash Borer plan will have the advantage of further spreading out the costs associated with ash tree management versus removing all ash trees. It will also help preserve the beauty of our community, especially in those neighborhoods where ash trees are dominant species. As stated earlier, we do not know when Emerald Ash Borer will arrive. And the estimate I gave there, I put 2019, but it could be 10 years from now, it could be next year, it's hard to say. We only know that it will arrive and will destroy ash trees if we do nothing. By beginning the removal of ash trees now and setting money aside for future chemical treatments, we can disperse the costs associated with the Emerald Ash Borer and mitigate the impact it will have on our community. Thank you for your time. Any questions or anything?
When you talking about setting up this program, what is I guess criteria would it be? You would cut the older trees down, try to save the younger ones, or cut the younger ones and treat the older ones, or how?
The main first criteria will be tree health. If trees have to have they have more than 30% of their canopy missing, they're not good candidates for treatment. So if it can't be saved, no reason to bother trying to invest money into it to save it. So tree health is the main issue there. We actually would recommend save some of the mature trees as long as they're healthy. Mm-hmm. And for the removal plan, focus on the younger trees because those can be removed easier at cheaper cost. And plus, eventually, with a younger tree too, you'd have more investment versus with the injections and everything over its lifetime versus a mature tree.
So you're talking about treating the trees either chemically or we cut them down, one or the other. What about replanting? Have you formulated any kind of plan on what it would cost to?
Yeah, that's figured in the, let's see, if I find that table. On page 4, table 4, those costs there, that includes the number of trees removed per year, which is 12. And then they recommend 1.5 trees to be for replacement per tree. So if we remove 12 trees, then we replace them with 18 trees.
Okay. And
that cost is figured in there into that $6,140 there on the far right. Okay. Per year.
Somebody said, they thought we should be planting trees like, say, maybe out by the sewer plant, smaller trees, so they could be trees
transplanted later. Yeah. That would be a cost-saving option.
Right.
Yeah.
You could buy smaller, say, that size tree instead of,
That's what I wanted to do.
There's a lot of trees that would be an option. Another option that we brought up for possibly covering the cost would be for individuals, homeowners, residents, whatever, to adopt a tree if it's adjacent to the property. They especially want to save it. If they could adopt it and they could cover the cost for that treatment, and that would help cover some of the treatment costs. At least.
I do adopt them. Take care of them.
Yeah, you got a few ash trees on your yard and stuff there. Yeah.
Actually, mostly mine are maple and they seem to be losing leaves too like crazy. I don't know what's going on. And I even talked to Romay about it. But.
Brent, do we have a plan that we can get this out to the general public? Because there's, 290 trees on city property. What about how many trees are on private property in town? Do we know that, or?
We don't know how many there are on private property. The DNR report didn't really look at the private property or private trees.
No.
I would say it probably wouldn't hurt maybe in the utility bill or something like that this spring when some stuff like this, when you can see the trees, the leaves come back and everything and stuff, to maybe include a little flyer about what to look out for Emerald Ash Borer, something like that, an informative little flyer. One page, keep it simple. I know other communities have done that. And usually you can go, I can look and stuff, but usually like Iowa State and other websites and stuff, they have that type of information to give out to homeowners and stuff.
Because
like
we'd
that.
want to tell them these trees are no good and these are the trees they need to buy, because they're gonna be
Right,
lost.
right,
if
with
we don't
replacement
need
trees too,
Right.
right, yeah, yeah.
What, you guys want to work on some sort of a flyer that we could send out this spring?
Yeah, we could do that really easily.
We need to get ahead of it before we're way behind.
So how many, how many kinds of trees could we plant? I mean, are the only affecting the ash or?
Yeah, they're only affecting the ash. There's basically maple and all those are all unaffected by it, so.
Something else?
Something else will get the maples
Yeah.
later.
When we were looking at replanting trees, Ruth and I were going through a species list. We came up with half a dozen trees or so that we will consistently plant on right-of-ways. But the other thing that came out of this DNR study was to say that maples are overpopulated in town too, so we're really
Yeah.
stingy about
We-
planting
I
maples.
think it was like 40%
Yeah.
maples, so if something would come along in the future and do maples, then, yeah, it'd be a lot worse, but,
Oh, that's
like oaks, lindens, those are trees that are underutilized in our canopy that would
Well, this-
I think they planted a
This
sycamore
just says
in my yard.
$8,000,
8,000?
and that funds.
My yard, I have about red
$2,000
maples and.
Yeah, because I guess I was confused on what number we should be
No,
looking
sycamore.
at.
So you're saying
290 trees.
I'm pretty sure.
That's $8,139.
What page was that on? Oh, on page 13
Page 13.
or 19
Plus it's
or
online, we have that
13 or 19.
deal on.
Yes.
So we could
Yeah.
set that up into the budget, starting that next year?
Somehow.
Yeah.
Or this year or
You guys
what?
remember that? They
It'll go
This
into
next
the budget
fiscal
for
year, yeah.
July.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all online, so.
Brent, that was very good. You guys did an excellent job as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. We'll set some money aside.
Yeah.
It's like a tidal wave, you know it's coming, it's just a
Just,
matter.
and it really isn't, and just again,
Yeah.
to remind the council why we would look at this, is to know that when emerald ash borer comes, there's a real strong chance that it comes and attacks a whole slew of trees, and they all die at the same time. So it becomes a huge safety concern, because you end up with a bunch of dead trees, and when these die, they become extremely brittle and and limbs fall. And so not only is it safety though, it's economic, that you end up taking down all of these trees at the same time. So it's trying to be proactive.
Yeah, put something in the budget then.
Okay, Lakeview Community Club. Vicki?
I have the fiscal year 2015-16 budget request from the community club for marketing and advertising. Our budget for advertising for 2015 is $8,350.
Page 20.
We advertise in a cooperative effort a lot of times with the city, and we do Western Iowa Tourism Region insert. We do the Omaha Herald Cooperative ad. We do 2 ads there. We do the social media, of course, the community calendars, that type of thing. We do some radio announcements. We do our Iowa magazine. We do 2 ads. So we're asking for the city 1/2 of the cost, which would be $4,800.
No.
No, I didn't do that right.
We're asking for the entire amount of advertising, which is $3,550, plus half the cost of the marketing coordinator and the event coordinator, and that's
Oh,
the
I see what
$4,800.
you- okay. Right.
Total budget request is
Right.
$8,350.
The total advertising is $3,550, and half of the marketing and event coordinators is $4,800. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So that's,
Where it's been always previously?
yeah, this is the same budget that we actually have this year.
Okay.
So, and that's worked out pretty good. We have these 2 part-time marketing coordinator and event coordinator, and they've been working out pretty well. And the city pays half of the cost for that.
Connie Asen is the marketing coordinator. She's doing an excellent job. And Amanda, I want to say Brotherton, and now it's Bangford is our event coordinator. We found that splitting up those 2 positions, because we had 1 position and now we've got 2, and it,
Do we take action?
same amount of money, but we actually, it's much easier to manage.
Sure. Well, everybody's busy.
Gus is down
That's
again.
probably,
Well, Community Club has a lot of, I'm sure you all know, we have a lot of active events.
Still there, guys?
A lot of active events, and ever since this has happened, we've got a lot more participation.
Still there, Gus?
I think we've had a nice,
different.
Gus, going once.
it's worked well.
Different people get involved.
Yeah, our
Because who's
membership,
involved?
our membership has grown every year the last few years. I think the events do that. I think the events that we're having, are popular, they're visible. You know, the tour of homes was a huge success. We just got nothing but positive feedback. We're gonna do another murder mystery dinner theater this year. That's a popular event, that we've
I
only
didn't
got.
go to that last time, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. So sip and sample, we like to be active in the community, so that's our job.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing on the sewer revenue loan and distribution agreement. Do we have any public input?
Shit happens. I mean,
We have no input on that?
Just the reminder.
Too close to you now, Kenny.
I hear you.
All right, are you there again, Gus?
Yeah, I was answering you, but you must not have been able to hear me.
Well, I sure couldn't.
Okay.
We're
I'm
doing,
gonna be home in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
What are you guys talking about now? You're off the trees.
yep, we're in the public hearing.
Public hearing on the sewer debt.
Okay.
So,
In about 10 minutes, I'll be on Skype.
okay, I'm ready for you.
Okay, I'll call you back then. That way I won't have to keep messing here.
Okay.
We have no input on
Right.
that.
Right.
We'll close the public hearing on the sewer revenue loan and distribution agreement, disbursement agreement. Okay, resolution 1503.
Just, again, this is the resolution that authorizes the issuance of this debt. It's up to $263,500 for the planning and design on the sewer plant. Now that's for both phases of the sewer plant project on the engineering. Okay, so the maximum is $263,500. We draw that money down as we utilize the engineering services. Okay, 0% interest loan can run for up to 3 years, and then it's rolled into our big loan when we do execute the big loan. So everything is in order. See, all of the proceedings are prepared by Dorsey and Whitney Law Firm.
We have a motion on resolution 1503.
I'll make that.
Second?
Roll call.
Steinkamp.
Yes.
Woltman.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
That carries.
Yeah, he's off.
For a little bit until he gets
Yeah.
on Skype, so he's gonna call back as soon as he
You want
gets
to wait for him to come back, or should we just keep?
Keep on going.
Okay, ordinance 467, this is a second reading, isn't it?
Second
Second
reading.
reading for the sewer rates. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Woltman.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Steinkamp.
Yes.
Okay, and resolution 1504 was the bids for Camp Crescent. We had a large amount of people here to listen and verify that it was a legal open bid. Nobody
That
can
was,
be
we
upset.
had like 16 people
Yeah.
at the bid letting. It was-
They were all sealed so that there shouldn't be anybody.
No?
Oh, that's good.
Well,
and it
Yeah,
came
real,
out much better.
saved a few bucks there.
yeah, real pleased with that. Heard nothing but good things about Rodert. They give a couple of their bigger jobs, the West Side Savings Bank in West Side, and then the Carroll Middle School addition.
Well, I know Whitey
And-
probably knows them guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
And
good work.
they have a cabin on the lake.
Oh,
The-
I didn't know that.
The
yeah.
big blue 2-story house on North Shore,
Oh,
just built a year or two ago,
well,
that's theirs.
how about-
Okay, so that's
Oh.
Potabombs, and
That's
and
got the whole family.
there's about 4 families in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll need to award the bid here. We'll need a motion on 1504.
I'll make it.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Steinkamp.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Woltman.
Yes.
Okay, our dangerous building and nuisance. We have
we have
good
a-
news for that.
Update.
Yes.
Oh.
We did get a hold of Corey. Corey called tonight, and he'd heard from his wife. Aaron had talked with
Aaron got
Barb. And anyway, Corey's going to tear down that garage tomorrow, and he has everything in line with Wirtjes to get the house tore down. His only comment was Wirtjes is pretty. Weather's got to be decent for him to be able to access the landfill. That was the only caveat on that. But other than that, everything's lined up.
And if you don't tear it down tomorrow, we're gonna mail the letter on Wednesday.
You saw that the proposed notice is page 29 of the packet, but we'd that basically is a 90-day notice to fix the problems or tear the house down.
Whose home was that?
Swain.
Claudine Swain's,
That's right.
Mhm.
I couldn't think of
I
that
couldn't
first.
think of it either.
And
but he did say that he would actually go work on the garage, start tearing it down tomorrow. Because that he's gonna do by hand, I think,
Oh,
or him personally.
Watch out for critters.
Looked like part of it was starting to come down already. Yeah,
it'll be an easy task.
East side of it had massive holes in it.
So we are gonna, he's not making any effort, we're gonna send him the letter.
Yep,
Okay, that
and
problem.
we'll follow through like we always
and
have.
so,
Yeah.
so let's make a goal of what the effort is, because the effort might last a year.
No,
So the
Well, it's
effort
only
doesn't
90.
last a year.
well, we're not gonna let it last a year.
I mean,
Well,
you know,
I would say,
I trust him that he's gonna do it, but, I mean, I just,
I'd say Wirtsch's biggest problem probably right now would be how soft it is.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah, it's-
weather
Yeah,
related.
you
It's supposed to get colder tomorrow.
Well,
yeah.
it's supposed to be down
Yeah.
to 30, I think. back.
That's not heavy enough to hold that heavy equipment up yet. It'll have to be.
No,
You know,
it'll take a few days.
I'm comfortable at leaving it at the mayor's discretion.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
We will be-
Really?
Yes, we will be on
And
them.
thanks Corey
idea.
for putting the effort in
Yeah.
to
Yep.
get her
Yeah.
done.
Hopefully, because this is the third time he said he's gonna do it, so,
Well,
I talked to his wife.
yeah, and that makes the difference. Okay, summer staffing. Everybody comfortable with that?
Just the point there was,
what page is that?
it's just in the memo on page 3. I would propose that we would start advertising for these positions. But we advertise for these positions, although most of them are filled by repeat people. There's some, I think there's some important benefits really to the city. You want to formally terminate employment at the end of the summer and then restart again at the next year. Part of it's IPERS related. They're not covered under IPERS then most of the time. One campground, assistant campground manager, Nancy Mulbauer intends to come back. 4 campground attendants. Know that Jack McGivern and Shannon would come back, and the other 2 I think are non-committal quite yet. 1 mini golf and concession worker, and it had been Ross, and she helped out weeding all the bump outs and everything uptown. She'd done a nice job. She may be a senior this year, so I need to. I don't know if she's coming back yet or not, so we'll apply for that one. Utility floaters. We have had 1 in the electric department, 1 in public works. And Lon said, "Boy, could I get another one? I could use 2." He said, or I could use 2 or 3. He says. Just the idea being, he had a couple of different things that he wanted to make sure happened. First and foremost was to make sure that sewers are cleaned, and second thing was to go ahead and, just a solid goal to get all of those the water shutoffs GPS this summer.
And fix the ones that we've talked about lately, the water shutoffs.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
We'll make sure we get them fixed so that,
I guess I'm looking for some guidance here, because the mayor and you, Scott, just to think is there a real need for 1 or 2 or 3? I don't want.
We've had 1 before?
yeah.
Had one electric, 1 public works.
Do they have to be old enough to run the equipment then?
That is actually an issue for us, is finding employees, because they're required to be 18.
Well, yeah, that's what I
We
thought.
struggle, we'd be lucky to get 1.
Yeah.
I would say that if Lon wants 2, I bet he can keep them busy.
True.
But I don't know if we can find 2.
And I guess, you don't need to decide on that. We'd just put the
Yeah,
ad out there and see what we get to. But for budgeting purposes,
And
it's
they-
nice to know.
Yeah.
We need to.
And they need a driver's license probably before be able to tool
Oh, yeah.
around with the pickup or
Yeah.
whatever. I
Certainly.
mean,
You
How
bet.
about Bill Farley, does the grasshopper, the days that he's not doing that, could he be of some help to Lon, or is Lon's kind of a taskmaster, he'd make him work.
Yeah.
I mean, physically, but,
Partially, and actually, I was talking with Lon about that too. That was another reason that he said he could sure use more help because of the harvester, and that one of his guys goes down there and checks the machine every morning, fills it with fuel, this type of stuff. Bill has not been doing that. That way, Lon was tasked with supervision of that. He just wants to make sure that it's done properly, and he's supervising that every day.
if his name's on it, it'll be done right.
So that ended up sitting outside, huh?
Yep, we couldn't find anywhere. And you can't
what are
put
you
that
gonna
wrap
do?
on it because there's too many sharp corners.
At least they could put, wouldn't take that much to build a top over it at least, even if it wasn't totally covered, but.
Oh, should put it under the men's club A-frame down there.
I don't think it'd fit.
But maybe it wouldn't fit us. Anyway,
Too tall.
the Black Hawk Lake Association guys looked for several places. We may have one next year, but every shed we went to, they have to pull out 4 combines, 6 tractors, and 18 wagons, and they wouldn't do it. It was
Hauser don't have room in that big one.
no, and Larry Nelson doesn't have room in his by the city shed. That big galvanized one.
Oh, yeah.
But the men's or the Black Hawk Lake Association thought they would have something for next year, but we just couldn't find nothing. And Jimmy can't cover it because of the sharp corners.
Lakewood Ballroom?
Yeah, would that work?
I don't think you can get in there.
You ain't gonna get in the door.
Not tall enough?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd have to take off the side wheels, and even still, that's 10 feet wide.
You can't take sidewalls off, how are you
Piece of
gonna?
equipment.
The wheels,
Yeah.
take the wheels off, yeah.
Farmers are kind of funny, they leave, when you go to buy any kind of equipment, it's outside all year long. Then when they buy it, put it inside.
I know.
Unless you
Yeah.
live in Missouri.
Yeah, I've
But
been there.
it saves a lot of problems.
Yeah,
I think so.
it does in Iowa. So we want a motion to put this in, or you're just gonna do it? or-
I'm going to go ahead and advertise for those positions, if that's all right. Just note that the one thing that was not listed on the list then would be lifeguards. It's not proposed that we would
I
have
don't
lifeguards.
think we wanna
We
go
tried
down
that don't work.
route
You want
again.
me to draw attention to that?
What, no
Did we-
lifeguards or,
No lifeguard.
Is,
what?
We didn't have any.
We didn't have any luck with them last year.
Yeah, what was it, most of the summer, was it about half the summer they were gone already?
Yeah, we were done by 4th of July.
4th of July day.
4th of July weekend, nobody showed up. Nobody.
Yeah, they kind of wanted the summer jobs, but it didn't work out very good, so.
They didn't wanna work weekends.
No.
Well,
Seriously?
Yeah. But I
Isn't that right?
met with them and offered them Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No, they were busy, couldn't do it. That way they still had days off and they wouldn't do that, so I said, well, I guess we're done, and that was the end of it. But by then, we were down to 3 anyway.
In the perfect world, huh?
and minimum age on these?
What?
They just have to have,
16.
I think so.
Is
be able
it
to get here.
I think 20 years ago, the kids wanted a job. I don't think today they do.
15.
A
15?
lot of
the
parents
class.
don't want their kids to have a job.
Oh, my.
I don't know why, but they don't.
They're not gonna advertise for that, though.
No.
Yeah, we're not gonna
No, we're not.
advertise for lifeguards.
We've been down that
Is it
road.
15 for all of these jobs though, Scott?
No,
No.
only lifeguards.
You have to have a driver's license.
But we're not doing
Basically,
that.
the other ones are,
At
the other ones are 16 for our mini golf and concession person, and our summer park worker can be 16, but our floaters need to be 18.
Yeah, they do, it's hard work.
Right, it's hard work, because Bill's a taskmaster,
Yeah,
Lon's a
they both
taskmaster.
are.
If they're gonna pay him, they'll make him work.
Concerns me a little bit, because I don't know about Matt Rydell. Matt was our public works floater last year. I think he's done with school, and I don't know for sure that he's, whether he's coming back or not. And Cameron Newell was our electric floater last year, and I made it pretty apparent I don't think he intends to come back. He wants to get that law enforcement job now. So.
Sure.
Okay, 15-16 budget preparation.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
This is exciting.
let's do that before Marcia goes. I want her to be thrilled.
No,
Really? Oh come on, Marcia.
it's just
You-
budget stuff.
You hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I can probably go home and rest tomorrow, right?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
I did a question though, this Lori Gilbert apparently did not show up tonight, or what's the deal with that?
It's on
Is
for
that-
next
Oh,
next.
oh, February,
Yeah,
okay, February. I didn't-
February 2nd, I think, is what it said.
So is that an extensive thing, or just a?
She's going to come talk about down payment assistance grants for housing.
Yeah, I can leave for the budget. I was wondering if I could have a copy of that roller thing though.
Which-
Can I, may I take that
Yeah,
home with me?
we'll take this.
I do.
You can have mine, that's
You
fine.
people do know that I do try to be unbiased when I write my articles, right?
Oh,
Well,
we didn't know that.
your last one was real good.
Balance, balance is the word, and the
You
truth
did
of the
a pretty
matter
good
is,
job.
you know, I could write lots of stuff that I don't, that you should be very grateful for.
Scott reminds me of that
I'd
quite
say
often.
I remind them, I think often about this.
Yes,
We have good relations with the press and we would like to keep that.
Well,
way.
yeah, because I do have a pretty good filter, I think,
Yeah.
you know, to try to get the facts out there without embarrassing anybody,
Right.
you know?
And you have a stake in making the town go forward.
Yes, that's right.
We all do.
And I thank you
Yes.
for all the trouble that you went through this whole veterans thing too, because
It's gonna be nice when it gets done.
it
Yes,
is,
that's
and
right.
like, we all have the same goal, really, it's just how to get there, so,
It'll be just fine.
yep.
Well, yeah, and now it's basically in back of us.
So what did you do to your,
I just fell on the ice and broke my wrist, and
Ice fishing?
Property.
thanks.
Where at?
It
In the
wasn't
back of my
on?
house.
Oh.
I can't even sue anybody.
Well, don't say that. You could sue,
Your insurance.
Yeah.
your hubby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you
You
go.
can too. I'll tell
don't
you,
be
our
putting
daughter,
ideas in
Never
your
did.
head.
years ago,
Gotta prove
they had a
negligence.
daughter get burned, and one partner sued the other partner.
Don't you remember,
Yeah, covered.
Just for what it's worth, I like that notebook.
Oh, thank you.
I know.
I
Yeah,
kinda
it's a
needed
Christmas
that
present.
copy,
Yeah,
didn't
did
I?
Keep you going?
This little box.
Well,
So thank you.
Thanks, Marcia.
Not so much.
Thank you.
Not tonight.
Thank you, Marcia.
there's one, I don't know.
On page 3 is the budget.
We're gonna start on page 30.
Yeah, that's what I was.
30. Yeah, that's what he said too, 330 something.
And
Can I use your restroom?
Yep.
30? 30?
30.
Oh, 30.
This, Ed used to be with Surveillance Airplane Company and Bung Towel. 69 to 70.
I liked his shirt.
So what branch was he in?
It had to be the, well, I know, it's got First Aviation, so I don't know, it must be
Air Force.
Air Force.
Ed Roner?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got his business
I played
card.
softball with him for years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I've heard of that name, yeah. for-
73rd
Did you
Surveillance
really?
Airplane
Yep.
Company.
Yep. Yep. He married let's see what it says, it wasn't Logren, it was, they lived right by the park down there. God, I can't even think of it now. But he married a breeder girl.
Somebody, you know, I'm fine with names until somebody asks me who that is.
Yep, I'll think about it when I get to
And then a couple, 3 or 4 minutes, I'll think about it, and then, Joey will ask me who that is, and I'll say, she didn't ask me. I'm thinking, no, I'm just to
So
tell
I'll wake
you.
you up at 2 in the morning and tell you, that's when I'll remember it.
Yeah. I sleep pretty good. Even this don't keep me awake.
Oh, no, this is gonna upset some, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure it is.
All right.
I think
Done
you
yet?
need to convey to the committee that they shouldn't, hopefully they're not offended, but
Oh, I think we-
apparently they are.
It'll be fine. Everybody's sat there and go, we're all on this for one reason, and that's to get that thing.
Well,
And that's what they're gonna do. There's disappointment in everything, but they've worked really hard. I can be the first to tell you that. It's many nights, and we've hardly ever had a group raise that kind of money in that short a time.
no.
Yep, they've done a mighty fine job.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, let's whack this thing out.
Yep, just a few things to go through. In preparation of budget, we do have a special council meeting then scheduled for next Monday, where we will review a completed budget estimate. I'll do that this week, and we'll be ready for
Let's see, that's
council
a
review
20
next Monday,
What is that, 20?
26.
26.
Did you pay everybody?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't-
then they'll
I
come
didn't
back.
say anything.
They'll
You
come
say
back
anything, Whitey?
Monday next.
I didn't.
Hey, what?
Maybe nobody will come back. I bet nobody shows up next Monday.
For the budget discussion,
Yeah.
pretty exciting stuff.
Oh, boy.
I don't think.
Page 30 starts talking about property taxes. Here is the kind of a history on taxable valuations in Sac County. You see I've highlighted Lakeview's. But it kind of gives you a little comparison of our values versus other communities in the county, and then what Sac County proper is. So you can see our increase in valuation this year is 2.58%. Couple things on that is that residential rollback went up about 1.3%. So that's about half that increase is due to residential rollback. And then, but there's a decrease in there on commercial and industrial property. Had been at 95% and decreases to 90%. So that's a little offset. But the second column from the right it shows the difference, the amount that's been added between 15 and 16. So we didn't have highest percentage in the county, but you see how we rate as far as the actual dollars added to the valuation. We added $1.573 million worth of valuation in this year. Bottom two lines, that just shows the value of our TIF. Our TIF value actually went down a little bit, $38,000. I'll show you why in a second. But we're still about at 7% of our valuation is in the TIF district. So if anyone would express concern about how much we have in our TIF district, like I say, it's only 7% of our valuation. 31, those numbers are hard to read, but that is the allocation of our taxable valuations. And looking at the far right column, that's our total valuation, $114 million, and then you go clear over to about the left side column where it's residential. You'll see that of the $114 million, $98 million is residential. So you can just tell that we are very, very strongly residential tax based. Okay.
Isn't there going to be a backfill on the commercial or something?
Yeah. The fourth and fifth columns over, commercial and industrial, those are the amounts of valuations in commercial and industrial. Now, that valuation there, we're only receiving property taxes on 90% of that. There's 10% rollback on that now, but that 10% is the one that would be backfilled. Okay. I got to answer.
Snapper man.
There's the fisherman.
Yeah. Had a little trouble with my skate.
Uh-oh. We're going to turn on the big screen so everybody can see it.
Okay. Well, you got a better picture tonight.
Well, good.
Oh.
You missed it. Everybody's gone.
Maybe you did that on
I just checked connections is all I did, Gus, so hopefully it stays bright. But
Yeah.
If I could catch an extra fish, I still would see it.
Hello.
Hello.
I guess.
we're down to where we're talking about budget stuff, Gus, and we're actually on page 32 of the packet.
Okay.
We're just discussing property valuations. And when we look at page 32, that is the value that's included in our TIF district. And basically, there's only 3 properties in our TIF district: Evapco, Boulders, and Ryan's. And you can see what's happened over the years is the value in it's going to continue to grow, because especially looking at that 2014 value, that's the value at 2014, so that's the value that's actually used for this budget year we're working on. Of Evapco, their total values now is at $5.6 million. They get that exemption of $1.4 million. That's their tax abatement on the improvement, on their last addition. Okay, that tax abatement is just starting to kick in. That'll be a 5-year tax abatement, so every year you'll see more of that roll off of the abatement, and their value will continue to increase. Boulders has been the same for 4 years, $923,000 on the hotel. And then on Ryan's, their value, see the $540,000, but they had requested tax abatement also, and this is a 2-year 90% tax abatement. So they're only taxed at $95,000 this year. That's why the value actually went down in our TIF district a little bit. So, and then this commercial rollback, that's what's caused the decrease. So Valuations in our TIF district this year, $4.728 million.
I think my taxes went down big time on the building.
Well, should have went down an extra 5% this year.
Yeah.
And you get that property tax credit, and
it's going to be down next year too.
Yeah, it goes down again. Yeah. Just 33 and 34 are the individual tax abatement programs, projects that we have, so you can see what we have for individual tax abatements. But on page 34 is the five-year totals, just comparing this upcoming budget year to this current fiscal year, where for this upcoming year, we're abating value of $8.5 million. That equals to $30,547 of city taxes that are being abated for the year. But that's down from last year, where we abated $35,000. Page 35, just a property tax analysis. And I'm going to propose that we're going to start the budgeting process the same way that we've done for the past several years, and that is that we kind of start budgeting off of just keeping the total tax levy the same. It's been $8.45 for like 7 years now. Okay, so you see a little bit of growth out of this because our valuation continues to increase, but we've had the same tax levy for like 7 years. So this just compares this current fiscal year to what's proposed for next year. So again, a couple of changes there. Residential rollback went up 1.3%, but the commercial and industrial rollback went down 5%. Okay, when we figure this out, what I do is figure out the total amount of funds that we need for debt service. This year we'll need $82,800 for debt service, which is actually down a little bit from the $84,762 that we received this year. So we ask for a little bit less in debt service. If we keep the total tax levy the same, that means we receive a little bit more in the general fund. So total amount to receive in general fund this year would be proposed to be $449,000 versus the $437,000 that it is this year. Does that make sense?
Clear as mud.
Just, basically that we're keeping the tax levy the same again.
Right. Yeah. That's good. People like to hear that.
Yeah, it's consistent.
You want to be consistent. The other thing really to note about that, though, is this is the last year of that debt service on our streetscape bond. That's what we're still paying. We have one debt issuance that we pay with property taxes. It's that streetscape bond, and this is the last year of payment on it. That's why we'll be talking about street project again. And hopefully, that we would actually do a big project and issue debt again. And it has to do with that consistency. See, you keep the property tax rate the same, because if we would not do a street project, we wouldn't have a debt service levy. Total levy would go down. Okay, which is great for now. You just hate to be the next guy who's got to come along and race back up. Page 36 just shows our outstanding debts. That amount is actually coming down over the past several years. The amount outstanding at the end of June of 2015 is $1.384 million. Of this, the streetscape bond, that's the only one that's paid with property taxes. The other ones are paid with different types of revenue. Fire trucks just paid out of our general fund. Boulder's TIF is paid primarily with TIF revenues, as well as hotel motel taxes. Sac Beach general obligation, that is paid primarily with a special assessment paid by Boulder's. And then the remainder of it's paid with TIF, and that's a relatively small remainder. Most of it's paid by that special assessment. Of course, electric revenue, and then water and sewer are all revenue debts. We'll be also making the second payment to ourselves on the internal debt for that sewer jetter. Okay. Page 37 just shows some information on insurance costs. Just that top box showing our property and auto and liability insurance. Current cost right now is $54,900. Anticipate just something around a 3% increase, puts us at $56,500 using ICAP, the same provider again.
Did our liability for the over Wall Lake, how much did that affect us?
It didn't, yeah. The total rates are very similar to what they have been. It's not a no premium increase off of that one payment.
Okay.
Work comp, real good things to report on work comp actually, because our mod factor continues to decline and will decline again this year. So that's the experience modification factor, and that's has a big impact on the total amount of dollars that's paid. Okay, plus we made a bookkeeping change this past year and started keeping track of our public works guys' time and allocating them out to departments. Because if you actually allocate their time based upon timesheets or something concrete that you can base that on, they would then allocate their time according to what the actual breakout ends up being. Otherwise, they've been putting them primarily at the highest rate, which is doing all street work. Well, they do a lot more than street work. They do a lot of water and sewer work, and that ended up reducing our work comp last year by like $3,000. So that was certainly worth doing a little bit of extra book work for that. Health insurance. Again, 7 policies for family. That's six employees, and then Aaron also. We do have one retiree family policy. We also have one retiree policy that is now employee spouse. And employee spouse, we have one employee like that, and then 4 single policies. So I would, these numbers include a projected 10% increase, is what I would kind of estimate that as far as budgeting then for next year. This shows the amount then that's paid by the city, the amount that's paid by the city, by the employees, and the amount that's paid by the retirees. So the total premium cost to the city next year is proposed to be $108,000. We do have that amount that we pay for partial self-funding, so total amounts around $115,000. Total current insurance costs underneath the big box this year is $172,000, and the expected cost increase then, or expected cost for insurance next year, will be about $188,000. Questions?
Insurance is always a big question.
Yes, it is.
So like here, it says 1,000, the top one, family, $1,030.
Yep.
7 policies, 86,000. Is
Yes.
that right? That's good. That's a figure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's 7 policies at $1,030 times 12 months.
Oh, okay.
So that's the annual cost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Really, that's all that I had on budget for this time. Just a little. It was pretty easy.
That was painless.
For us.
Okay.
Okay, you have a city administrator report?
Yeah, just a couple things. Again, we're working on that sponsored project thing through our sewer SRF loan, and we meet with TJ and the watershed guys tomorrow, and the SRF loan people will be around to go through that. That's where they have the additional 10% that we can borrow and use it for a watershed project. So anyway, we're talking about that again tomorrow. 9:30, Mayor?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'd be a mess if we didn't have a meeting every day.
Oh, what would you do?
It's a good thing you're retired.
Yeah, really. Otherwise you'd be out selling zinc corn.
Yeah, wouldn't be near as painful.
Talked with the LPA on Saturday too about having us attend the Tourism Legislative Showcase. Okay, so a bunch of tourist related folks get together, and they have each one will have their booth. Go down to Des Moines. It's actually at the state fairgrounds, and they invite the state legislators to come. and then they'll feed them for the night, but then they also just have all the legislators roam around, talk to everybody in the booths. Okay? Now, Shirley Phillips has made a strong pitch that we ought to participate in this. And especially when it comes to the LPA and water quality stuff, I think that we really want to do this. This is next Tuesday, so it rolls up on us pretty quick. But I talked with the LPA, and Don Durner's on board. He's going to come help. But I think we'll go down and do this next Tuesday. So there is a cost. It costs $150 to have your booth space there. And then we'll have to provide some sort of food snack food for the legislators and the guests.
The LPA, after you left, they voted $200 towards that, and they're gonna make the food and provide water, you know, nothing, no alcohol, maybe some pop or something like that, so, but,
good.
So they said they would pick up part of the food bill, whatever, so.
Perfect.
So we'll see how that all works out, so, I mean, you can talk to Don, but.
Yeah, I talked to Don today. He brought in some
okay.
some boards and seemed on board, on board with everything that was going. So yeah, I think basically we're going to plan to do that. It would cost $150, and I would like to do that.
That's not a big ticket.
No, you know, this may be one of our better chances all year to have an organized lobbying effort down there. You know, it's a tourism day, so we'll be lobbying with a bunch of tourist-related entities, and like Boulders has a booth down there. So, but then we'll be, of course, discussing Lakeview and all the good tourism stuff, but we're also discussing water quality. That's the biggest thing, is that, and of course for us that is tourism related. Good water quality is.
We learned at the meeting the other night, Storm Lakes, they have their own little get together with their.
Oh, yeah, their own get together with the legislators.
But I'm sure it helps they got a dredge there for 5 years, so it must pay to do that.
Oh, absolutely it does. Yeah. And you know, like we had, I think, real good response back from when we had legislators come here this summer. We did the industrial tour and that type of stuff. It was all around well received. So we'll be working on that and going to that legislative showcase. There's a transportation day down there the following day, so I think I'll stick around and go to the transportation day too. Checking out, see kind of everybody's feelings about what's going to happen with transportation funding, because they do say if there's ever a good opportunity to increase transportation funding, it's this year.
It's going to happen.
With the gas tax the way it is now.
They wouldn't want to let an opportunity to go to jack something up.
We could sure use more money for streets, though, I would tell you that.
Streets and roads and
bridges are the big thing, really the big thing.
They are.
I mean, you see the ones on the
what's that?
Highway, but think of all the ones that are
said he
on
thought
the gravel roads.
each county could vote on
and
it.
stuff.
Wow.
Them are the ones that, and you know them guys are going across there with big equipment, big heavy equipment.
But you look in Sac County, how many big bridges we got across, you know, the Coon River. You know?
Oh yeah, you bet.
And we got a couple that, well, they're thinking about closing the road. I mean, shutting it off, you know, and that's, my God, that'd be an awful thing, I think. But then, if I lived out there, I'd really be protesting that, because, I mean, you'd have to go around, like I have to, one particular bridge, I have to drive 6 miles out of the way just to pick this up.
Really? Wow. Lakeview hosts Sac County League next month on the 11th. We'll host out at Ryan's. Trying to get a program lined up for the night, and we want to have a representative from Des Moines Waterworks come talk about their issues. Anyway, I got an email back from them today, and they politely refused. Or declined.
No way.
They were polite about it.
Do we have to do that?
It's in the consent agenda.
Oh, it was. Right. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. February 11th at 6:30, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that's at 6:30.
I'll be in Denver.
And you can put me down for 2.
Okay.
I'm sure. Thursday night, right?
That is a
Wednesday.
Wednesday. That's Wednesday.
I'll miss Chicago Fire, no.
Well, we got another,
I didn't hear that.
we got another council meeting before that.
Yeah, we'll have another council meeting before that.
I'll miss Chicago Fire.
We are also,
It ain't as good now.
between us and the community club, we're working the Omaha Sports Show. Here is the schedule, if anybody wants first dibs on working shifts.
Yeah, let me see that. Oh.
Anyway, that's all that I have.
Meeting, motion to adjourn?
I'll make it. Second.
Meeting adjourned.